Hey guys, I break down the most jaw-dropping finds from Antiques Roadshow. Only the best, no filler. Plus, I give my take on their current value. What do you think they're worth? Drop your guess in the comments. This gold watch, once owned by the legendary pitcher Walter Johnson, has been carefully preserved within our guest's family for generations.
And it's an appreciation watch that was given to him after a rather strange series of ball games between this so-called all-star team that he was pitching for and the Philadelphia Athletics in 1910.
Walter Johnson, often regarded as one of the greatest pitchers in baseball history, was a towering figure in the sport during the early 20th century. His achievements on the mound earned him the nickname the Big Train, a nod to his dominant fastball, one of the most feared pitches in baseball history. This watch is a rare and historically significant timepiece, presented to Johnson as a token of appreciation following a remarkable series of exhibition games in 1910. To stay sharp before the World Series, the Philadelphia Athletics formed an all-star team with players from the Red Sox, White Sox, and Senators, including the fiery young Walter Johnson.
But here we have, in 1910, this interesting occurrence. And the Philadelphia Athletics obviously wanted to stay on top of things for this week leading up to the series. They wanted to keep in shape.
Unbelievably, at just 22, Johnson was already displaying the dominance that would define his career, eventually leading to 417 victories. This included a record for the most shutouts in baseball history, and his induction as one of the first players in the Baseball Hall of Fame. What sets this watch apart is its historical engraving and beautiful enameling, showcasing the iconic Philadelphia Athletics elephant logo, a symbol still linked to the franchise today. While a comparable gold watch from this era, devoid of such provenance, might fetch a modest,
the watch is probably worth about $300 to $500.
This particular watch, given its impeccable lineage, historical significance, and direct association with a titan of the sport, would warrant an insurance valuation of no less than
for anything less than $50,000.
Wow. Well, that's impressive.
Today's guest acquired this collection from her grandmother's cousin, and she has preserved it ever since.
Rose, our cousin Rose, she liked me very much. She was very kind. She thought that I might enjoy a cigar box, which was filled with baseball cards.
This collection dates back to the early 1900s, and it includes a mix of different card types. Some are T202 triple folders. All the cards in this collection originally came in cigarette packs, with the T in T202 signifying tobacco to reflect their origin. These cards were originally collected by the cousin's brother, who would remove them from cigarette packs and store them in the box. Sadly, he passed away from lung cancer, but his habit of saving these cards preserved them in exceptional condition. There are over 345 cards in this collection, including the highly sought-after T206 set.
It's amazing. You look at these wonderful cards and you see the technique of the printing is so meticulous, so beautiful. And what's very special about your collection is the condition of many of these cards. You have over 345 cards, I believe.
Every T206 card in the collection features the rare American Beauty back, enhancing their desirability among collectors. Featuring legendary players like Ty Cobb, Christy Mathewson, and Cy Young, with this specific backing increases the worths of these cards. Ty Cobb, Christy Mathewson, and Cy Young were legendary players in early baseball, each leaving an enduring legacy. Cobb a fierce hitter, Mathewson a masterful pitcher, and Young a record-breaking ace. At auction, the Ty Cobb T206 American Beauty card alone is valued at.
And a card like that in that condition can be $5,000 to $6,000 alone.
Given the remarkable state of preservation, this entire collection is a true time capsule, and the appraiser wouldn't recommend insuring it for anything less than.
I wouldn't insure the collection for anything less than $200,000.
That's amazing.
What we have on display is an Olympic gold medal bestowed upon our guest's Uncle Carl at the Berlin Olympics.
Given to Uncle Carl in 1936 at the Olympics in Berlin. They were the first U.S. basketball team to go to the Olympics, and they won a gold medal.
Uncle Carl was a man of remarkable quietude, whose accomplishments spoke louder than his words ever could.
And he played basketball previously.
Yes, he played for Universal Pictures. I think the team was
sponsored by Universal Pictures.
Sponsored by them.
Notably, the accompanying photographs bring the history of the medal and its achievement to life, adding a personal touch that humanizes the athletes and enhances the significance of their legacy. The Universal Pictures-sponsored basketball team was an integral part of early American basketball history, particularly during the 1930s. On the other hand, UCLA's college basketball program is one of the most storied and successful in the history of American sports, founded in 1920. Despite the significance of his achievement, Carl rarely discussed his experience in Berlin, perhaps due to the conditions surrounding the historic game. The final match, where the US triumphed over Canada 19-8, was played under difficult conditions, heavy rain and a slippery clay court, both of which contributed to the low score.
And that it was pouring down rain. And considering Carl's demeanor, I would suspect that was one of the reasons he didn't talk about the Olympics. Okay. He was very proud of his sport.
This medal is rare not only because it symbolizes the first Olympic basketball gold, but also due to its connection to an extraordinary chapter in sports history. As a result, at auction, this gold medal is anticipated to command a significant price of.
We would expect it to sell for between $25,000 to $35,000 at auction.
However, given its exceptional rarity and historical importance, it would be insured at an estimated value of.
And we would believe you could insure it for $50,000.
Okay.
Our guest today presented this incredible collection of sports pins that belonged to his grandfather, Sid Feder.
Sid Feder, he was one of the first sports writers for the Associated Press. And I guess he collected them as he attended various championships, the World Series, NFL championships, and the like.
Beyond his writing career, Sid Feder and his grandmother were well connected in both the sports and literary circles, including a notable friendship with Frank Sinatra. Sid Feder, an early AP writer, shaped sports media in New York by covering major events like the World Series and NFL championships. During this time, he witnessed the dominance of the Yankees in the World Series, as well as the rivalries with the Giants and Brooklyn Dodgers. Included in this collection are pins from iconic events, and the importance of these pieces is influenced by factors like age, condition, design, and the team they represent. For instance, the 1936 World Series pin, marking Joe DiMaggio's rookie year, is valued at around.
That pin alone is probably about $1,000.
Joe DiMaggio is widely regarded as one of the greatest baseball players of all time, often remembered for his time with the New York Yankees. Likewise, the 1938 pin is exceptionally rare, with its striking gold hue elevating its value to approximately.
That pin is about $1,300.
Additionally, some pins from the World War II era are also on display. They are less ornate than the others because materials were scarce during the war, but they are still quite valuable. A standout piece in this collection is the 1946 Brooklyn Dodgers Phantom pin, created despite the team not reaching the World Series after losing a playoff series to the Cardinals. The 1946 Brooklyn Dodgers were a Major League Baseball team that played in the National League. If evaluated in this present day, this collection of pins at auction would likely command approximately.
It would be an auction value of about $15,000 individually.
However, given the historical significance of this complete collection, particularly with its provenance, the entire collection would have insurance value of.
I'd insure these for $20,000.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
This guest's father forged a close relationship with Jackie Robinson during their high school years in Los Angeles.
I have a group of letters and an image of Jackie playing UCLA football. It's kind of personal, but it's really great historically, too.
Jackie Robinson was a groundbreaking athlete and civil rights icon, most famously known for breaking Major League Baseball's color barrier in 1947. Among the heirlooms passed down to our guest is an extraordinary collection of personal letters from Robinson, dating back to the late 1930s. These letters are accompanied by an image of Robinson, taken during his time playing football at UCLA, making it truly exceptional. These letters, written before Robinson broke the color barrier in 1947, provide a rare glimpse into the life of a future sports legend. With its correspondence that offers a personal glimpse into his character before he became a baseball legend, including his struggles with UCLA's academics, his choice to attend UCLA over Oregon, and his efforts to stay connected with friends.
Right. He talks about how he chose UCLA over Oregon. He talks about seeking your dad out while he was in LA because you really wanted to see him, his buddy. He invites your father to his wedding. He says, hey, I'm glad you found a church. I'm looking for one too. These are personal to Jackie Robinson.
UCLA is recognized for its competitive admission process, high academic standards, and research-driven environment. Notably, one of these letters also contains a youthful signature from Robinson at the age of 19, which is an extremely rare find. Remarkably, after inheriting these treasures from his father, our guest discovered additional memorabilia, including a graduation card tucked away in a scrapbook.
I didn't even know I had because it was separate in the album from all the Jackie stuff.
Sure.
And I was just looking, and I was like, holy smokes, here's another one.
Given the historical significance of Jackie Robinson, it's not far-fetched that this entire collection is worth.
At auction, we can see this fetching anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000.
Right? Holy, that's pretty cool. I mean, my dad would be really proud right now because, you know, he considered him a pretty tight friend.
What we have on display is the 1919 Belmont Stakes sterling silver trophy tray, a remarkable piece awarded for Sir Barton's victory in the 1919 Belmont Stakes.
So, and tell me about Sir Barton, because he was quite an interesting horse.
Yes. Well, he was a horse that inherited bad feet, and he had a really mean disposition, and they basically had to wear out all these other horses to get him to train.
Passed down to the guest from her great-grandfather, this piece symbolizes his triumph, securing his place in racing history as the first ever Triple Crown winner. Sir Barton, a horse marked by his notoriously difficult temperament and physical challenges, overcame significant adversity to achieve this remarkable feat. His bad feet and fierce nature made him a challenge to train, and he was known for his aversion to both humans and other animals.
He was nasty. Apparently you wouldn't want to go near him.
Didn't like humans.
No, didn't like humans. Didn't like animals either.
Originally entered in the Kentucky Derby as a rabbit to tire out other horses, Sir Barton shocked everyone by winning the Derby, Preakness, and Belmont Stakes in just 32 days. The Kentucky Derby, often referred to as the Run for the Roses, is one of the most prestigious horse races in the world. The tray, inscribed with Sir Barton, represents more than just a trophy. It embodies the culmination of an extraordinary racing legacy. This tray would be even better with some polishing, as it restores its brilliance, highlighting its inherent beauty. Interestingly, in 2006 at an auction, a similar silver loving cup awarded to Sir Barton in 1919 sold for.
That was awarded to Sir Barton for the Belmont Stakes. That sold at auction for $17,000.
However, this particular sterling silver trophy tray, even though it's unpolished, it would have an insurance value of.
For an insurance figure, I would place an insurance amount of $35,000.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful.
This is the pair of shoes Muhammad Ali wore during his legendary Thriller in Manila fight in 1975, the third and final bout in his rivalry with Joe Frazier.
The fight, Ali used these shoes to train in, and I don't know how long he trained in them, but eventually the right front toe came loose.
Muhammad Ali, born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. on January 17, 1942, was an American professional boxer, widely regarded as one of the greatest athletes in history. Following the fight, Ali persisted in using these shoes for training purposes until the right shoe's front toe became detached due to the tear from his rigorous training regimen. Afterward, his trainer Angelo Dundee took possession of these shoes, eventually passing them on to our guest, who later had them signed by Ali. The name Thriller in Manila came from Ali's poetic style, and to promote the fight, he coined the phrase, "This fight is going to be the killer and a chiller, and I'm going to beat the gorilla in the Thriller in Manila." So the press embraced it, and it became iconic, marking one of the most historic heavyweight championship bouts in history. Ali won the final match by TKO in the 14th round after both fighters endured brutal beatings, resulting in a trip to the hospital for both. This piece was received by the guest from Angelo Dundee in 1980, when he was the executive sports editor of the Philadelphia Inquirer.
1980, and I had asked for Angelo for some promotional material for a promotion I was doing for the paper, and he sent me a robe, an Ali robe, which I gave away as the winner of the promotion, and he threw these shoes in with a note that says, these are the shoes that he wore in Manila. He discarded them because of the toe, and he said, I thought you might like to have them.
Even though it was not accompanied by any formal documentation, the provenance is supported by Angelo's note, verifying them as Ali's training shoes. According to the appraiser, in his research, he discovered another pair of certified shoes from the Thriller in Manila, and a similar pair to the one on display have sold at auction for as much as
have sold for up to $100,000.
However, based on its current condition, the value of these signed training shoes used by the boxing legend would be
for between $15,000 and $20,000.
Interesting.
But 10 years ago.
Interesting. Well, I learned something today.
This baseball bat on display, inherited by our guest from his father, who received it from Ty Cobb in 1924, has an intriguing backstory. The guest's father, who owned a dealership in Detroit, had the rare opportunity to acquire this bat, when Cobb, while purchasing a vehicle, offered it as a partial down payment. This bat is a Model 40K, a professional-grade piece specifically designed for Cobb, though it was occasionally distributed to other major and minor league players. Ty Cobb, one of the most legendary and controversial figures in baseball history, was renowned for his ferocious playing style, unparalleled batting skill, and relentless competitive spirit. Notably, this piece is equipped with the cork grip, a technological innovation credited to Cobb himself. The handle also bears the unmistakable Louisville Slugger catalog number, confirming its authenticity as a bat manufactured to Cobb's exacting specifications.
I'm telling you about the bat.
Not a whole lot, because back in those days, they used to take a lot of different things. They took mules, horses, whatever they could come up with to pay for a car, because times were kind of lean, to say the least.
With a length of 34 inches and weighing 38 ounces, the bat was produced during the period between 1916 and 1929, which aligns with the year the guest's father acquired it. Additionally, this bat remains in excellent shape, free from cracks, with a cork grip that has survived remarkably well despite its delicate nature. This bat shows clear evidence of use, including ball and cleat marks indicative of its time on the field. Furthermore, the deep facsimile signature on the barrel suggests it was heavily utilized, as most bats with significant wear show a less pronounced signature. However, game-used bats of this caliber from a Hall of Famers such as Cobb rarely come up for auction, making this piece all the more valuable, and it would easily command a price of
At $14,000 to $18,000
Wow.
at auction.
Wow, that is a big surprise.
We see a classic, elegant pocket watch on a chain with a minimalist design. The guest's husband inherited this Patek Philippe watch as an heirloom.
That would have been probably in the 1950s, maybe. My husband has had it for about 20, 25 years.
This pocket watch was made in the 1930s by the Patek Philippe company, a Swiss family-owned luxury watch and clock manufacturer. We can see the pristine enamels designed around the watch. The watch and its chain are made with platinum, known for its durability and lustrous finish. Unlike many from the same period, this watch has 3 signatures providing provenance.
The movement is signed with a second signature and the dial is signed.
Small second subdial at the 6 o'clock position can be seen marked with its own set of numbers and fine detailing, along with vintage-looking traditional spade hands with bold markers for clear readability. Looking closely at the chain, we see missing pieces of diamond, which affects its value. Reflecting on its timeless elegance and good condition, this Patek Philippe pocket watch would fetch
Between $5,500 and $6,500 for the watch alone.
Wow.
at auction. This classic chain, enhancing the overall vintage appeal of the pocket watch, could sell for
The chain alone probably would bring $1,000 to $1,200, and it would
Wow.
increase as you put the diamonds back in.
This jewelry set is a family heirloom passed down for generations.
This jewelry, the pins and the hairpins came from my mother, and she received them from my grandfather, her father-in-law, when I was born.
With a photograph of the guest's grandmother wearing the jewelry. Originating from Malaysia, it is crafted in high-carat gold, specifically 22-carat fine gold, and adorned with rose-cut diamonds. The hairpins also feature ornamentation and are made of 22-carat gold. The jewelry set contains a total of 20 carats of rose-cut diamonds, likely dating back to 19th century Malaysia. The high quality of this set puts its estimated value at
We put a value on this somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000.
Wow, my goodness. Yeah, that's amazing.
This guest's uncle rescued this antique from the trash of an old pharmacy in Louisiana.
I have an old pharmacy. It was in the attic for a long time, and when they cleaned it out, they threw it to the trash. My uncle was driving by, saw the trash, and saw a couple of antiques, and when he dug through it, he found this.
We are presented with a political poster from 1937, featuring images of important political figures of the time. The poster was created by supporters of US Senator Huey P. Long Jr. to carry on his legacy after his assassination in 1935. The center of the poster depicts the Baton Rouge state capitol, monumental to Long's legacy and, unfortunately, where he was assassinated. This piece holds great significance to the people of Louisiana and, if put at auction, would sell for.
At auction, this piece would fetch between $3,000 and $4,000.
Really? Awesome.
We see elegant and beautiful teacups inside a box. The guest bought this item at a store in the 1970s. It's a French porcelain coffee service made in the late 19th century. The box holding these cups is intricately designed with silk to cushion the cups.
There are some information on the bottom of the pieces.
Looking at the bottom of the cup, we see royal signatures, like those from the French Royal Porcelain Factory, but this one is not hand-painted, which is a mark of quality and authenticity. It's transfer printed. The designs on the porcelain cup are beautiful, but they seem rushed, which lowers their value. At auction, despite being inauthentic, this exquisite porcelain coffee service, inspired by nature, could still sell for.
It's only worth about $800 to $1,000 now.
Aspens are often seen as symbols of connection and resilience, which is depicted in this vibrant oil painting. It used to belong to the guest's mother before it was passed down to her.
It was my mother's, and she loved the painting. I was always scared of it. It's a scary looking forest.
The painting was done in 1947, and we can discern the artist's signature, Loren Mosley. Mosley was an artist of the American Southwest.
In 1938, Loren Mosley became one of the founders of the University of Texas Fine Art Department.
Furthermore, the painting's medium is oil on canvas board and is titled Aspens on the back. Just as the title suggests, the painting depicts colorful aspen trees and is perfectly preserved. At auction, this work of art by Mosley in its current condition would be worth.
To sell at auction anywhere between $30,000 and $50,000.
No, really?
The guest was 12 years old when he attended his first Jimi Hendrix concert.
I was 12 years old. It was in 1970 in Stockholm, Sweden. I was staying at my friend's house who was 13, and his older brother said, "Would you like to go see Jimi Hendrix?"
And has a remarkable collection to show for it. The collection includes an original guitar pick given to the guest by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame guitarist Jimi Hendrix, a pouch bought after the concert, a broken drumstick from English drummer Mitch Mitchell, and a photograph acquired through an acquaintance.
And he asked me if I had any pictures of the show. And I explained to him I didn't, but I'd always been looking for a picture of a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old looking up at Jimi Hendrix.
The provenance and story behind this collection add immense value. All items are framed and in mint condition, which an auction value estimated at.
I think putting it all together with the combination of your provenance and your story turns this more into a $3,000 to $5,000 item at auction.
Today, we are presented with a meticulously crafted burlwood bowl that resonates with centuries of tradition. The guest inherited this piece from his mother-in-law. On the bottom of the bowl is a label indicating it was carved from a butternut tree. This item dates back to the 1830s and was made by Native Americans. Adorning either side of this bowl are two bumps known as effigies.
Because it doesn't split, and so it makes it very adaptable for scooping out and shaping.
Embodying the traditional craftsmanship of Native Americans, this piece would easily command a significant value.
So that makes it unusually large for this kind of a piece.
The guest also showcased a mush paddle and spoon. These two items, if auctioned, would fetch a considerable value.
The value might have been around $15,000 10 years ago, but in today's market, it's probably worth, at auction, between $40,000 and $60,000.
Whoa! Exhibited here is a magnificent powder horn of great beauty. Our guest and her husband inherited this exquisite piece as a legacy from her grandfather-in-law. The origins of this beautifully carved horn can be traced back to the 18th century. Carved onto this remarkable piece are ornate details, which demonstrate the craftsman's excellent skill and attention to detail. A carefully engraved phrase on the surface offers a glimpse into the history of this piece.
It says right here,
Captain Nathaniel Comstock, his horn, powder with my brother Ball, hero like doth conquer all.
In addition to the saying, the surface also boasts fascinating depictions.
Is this mermaid right here. You can see her tail, and she's got a heart right here. And in one hand she has a bottle, and in the other hand she has a wine glass.
This unique piece has been meticulously well preserved and maintained. It is in superb condition, which would give it an estimated value of,
I would say conservatively, it would be worth $6,000 to $8,000.
That's quite overwhelming.
This guest inherited this baseball from her mother.
My mother was a private duty nurse at Emory University Hospital in 1961, and she was Ty Cobb's private duty nurse.
Who was the private duty nurse to the famous American baseball player Tyrus Raymond Cobb. Cobb, a legendary player, spent most of his 22-season career with the Detroit Tigers, where he achieved numerous records and accolades that remain unmatched today. During the last month of his life, he signed this baseball for the guest's mother. The ball bears Cobb's distinctive green signature, a predominant feature of his autographs.
The writing is in green. Normally it's in blue or black ink, occasionally red, but Ty Cobb's sign predominantly in green.
Unusually, the ball was signed twice by the icon and dated July 9th, 1961. Preserved and presented in excellent condition, this signed baseball is valued at,
I would place an auction estimate of $15,000 to $20,000. Oh my. I thought, no way.
This guest acquired this piece from his uncle.
When you get ready to leave, my uncle comes out with this belt and says it's Elvis's belt that Elvis gave to him at the Hilton Hotel years ago.
Who was a bartender at the Las Vegas Hilton Hotel. This beautiful belt piece belonged to the American singer and actor Elvis Aaron Presley, popularly known as the King of Rock and Roll. He is regarded as one of the most significant cultural figures of the 20th century and lived at the Hilton Hotel for 8 years. During this time, he presented this costume piece to the guest's uncle. The belt is made of bullion wire thread set with rhinestones and features fringes. Preserved excellently with very good provenance, this piece will sell at auction for,
I'm going to say at auction it would be $3,000 to $4,000. That's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with
This guest inherited this piece from her mother after her passing.
My mom passed 8 years ago. I was helping my dad go through things in the house. I came across that and I asked my dad about it, and he said that was something that was my mom's. It's from her side of the family.
This wallet is a typical example of early American needlework, accompanied by a couple of letters dating back to the 18th century. It was likely a man's purse, produced by a girl in school as an essential part of her education. The purse is made from wool, with all its colors derived from natural sources. While similar items are usually damaged by moths, this purse has been preserved in very good condition. Coupled with its glorious design, it would sell for,
Well, I think probably it's worth in the area between $3,000 and $5,000.
This guest's father-in-law was a photographer who traded his services for these pieces.
And my father-in-law photographed some work for Claire Falkenstein, who's this artist, and took these pieces in trade for the work he did for her.
This jewelry set is from the American sculptor and jewelry designer Claire Falkenstein. She was one of the most experimental and productive artists of the 20th century, renowned for her often large-scale abstract public sculptures. Unusual for the artist, we are presented with jewelry made from non-precious metals that showcase her modernist essence.
She didn't use precious metals. What we have here, we have some brass wire, and it looks like a gentleman.
Both pieces date back to 1960, during the prime of her work. Simple, yet sophisticated, these pieces hold great value in their representation and would sell for,
Fairly nice auction value. He said between $3,000 and $5,000 for the two pieces.
Oh my goodness.
This piece represents the craftsmanship of a talented generation of ironworkers. It was built by the guest's great-great-grandfather.
This was built by my great-great-grandfather for the Columbian Exposition in 1893.
Who won third prize at the Columbian Exposition of 1893. The ironwork itself shows his brilliance and skill, accompanied by the medal he proudly wore during the event. An expert ironworker, originally from Germany, immigrated and gained acclaim for creating the Statue of Liberty's stairwell. This piece stands as a testament to his legacy. At what value will it be auctioned? Our focus is on a rare and incredible poster from a show hosted by Gordon William Lilly, the American showman known as Pawnee Bill. He specialized in Wild West shows and famously collaborated with William Buffalo Bill Cody. This poster is a 70 feet long and 10 feet high piece and has been preserved meticulously over the years. Originally printed on paper, these images were affixed to barns, hence dubbed barnside.
Originally printed on paper, they were pasted up on the sides of barns. To the best of my knowledge, this is the only copy of this poster to exist.
The sheer size of the art left the appraiser with nothing but words of praise for this piece. What value could be attributed to this priceless and somewhat timeless piece of art? From West Africa, Nigeria, we are presented with a painting that represents the culture of the Oshogbo people. The guest's grandmother purchased it in Cleveland, Ohio in 1981 from the artist himself, Joseph Olabode. There's a handwritten note by the artist which exemplifies the painting.
These are fishermen fishing in a sacred river, and you're not supposed to fish there by some sacred law, and by doing so, by defying the sacred law, they have been blinded by the spirit of the river.
This piece is a part of a major contemporary art movement in Africa, which gave artists the chance to come in and express themselves. What's interesting about this piece is how they did it.
The artist bends over and he has a strand of the beads in his mouth, and he feeds the beads down on the board.
Really?
Then they're glued down.
Given its cultural and historical significance, this painting would sell for.
I think you'd expect this to sell between $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
Which on your initial investment is $500 is pretty good.
Yes.
The guest presented a chest that was crafted by his great-grandfather in 1894. This piece is a tool chest and a cherished family heirloom, which he kept all his tools in for safekeeping.
That's a picture of him, and he's holding a gun that he carved gun stocks as well.
It features beautiful inlay that remains tight despite the years of use, which shows the artistry of its maker.
You also see an embellishment here, which is Odd's Fellow emblem, and it's fraternal, so he was a member of that society.
Also, on the chest is an engraving of the maker and a drawer which holds hand tools and have the maker's signature on it. All these features add to its provenance, and at auction would fetch.
And I would insure this in the neighborhood of $3,000 as a family piece.
Unfold a piece of history. This tiny map from 1846 packs a big punch. Made on special paper, these 19th century folding maps were as useful as they were delicate.
Is if you fold these and unfold these a lot of times, they're going to tear. So the survival rate on these is quite low.
This beauty by S. Augustus Mitchell shows the Western US before the Oregon Treaty. This map captures a turning point in American history.
This was the year that the Oregon Treaty was signed between the United States and Great Britain to determine the boundary between American holdings and British holdings.
It even hints at the upcoming Mexican War with a massive Texas. Rare and fascinating, this map is a collector's dream. In amazing condition, it boasts vibrant original colors. Folds are common, but this one is in great shape. A family heirloom. This map belonged to an Oregon lover. At auction, it could fetch easily.
This generally sells for about $12,500.
Wow.
Easier to learn than any other string instrument. This ukulele is a cherished piece for any beginner guitarist. It is a Martin style too, from the mid to late 1920s, made by the renowned Martin Company. This piece was their second highest model that was made of mahogany. It has celluloid binding around the edges, which is the same as the buttons of the tuners. This ukulele is quite exceptional, and despite the years of use, it's still in good condition. Given the reputation of its maker and its historical significance, it would auction for.
Probably has a retail value in a specialty shop of around $1,500.
Oh my gosh. Really?
This exquisite English marquetry table, an heirloom dating back to around the mid-1800s, boasts a fascinating blend of British heritage and Indian craftsmanship.
It's been in my family since about 1958. My father actually bought it in England at auction.
The table's decorative top showcase intricate inlays of butterflies and dragonflies, bordered by a stunning array of woods, including maple, rosewood, ebony, mahogany, and satinwood. The marquetry, likely machine-made, adds a whimsical touch that suggests a dating as late as the 1880s. This versatile tilt-top table could serve various purposes, from a breakfast or dining table to a games table or a centerpiece. Well preserved and in good condition, this piece would auction for
today's auction market, I would probably estimate it somewhere in the $7,000 to $9,000 range.
Great, wonderful. That's great news.
Hidden treasure. This elegant cabinet has a surprising past. Originally owned by the French consulate in Boston, they couldn't take it during World War II. Luckily, the guest's mother found this gem at a consignment shop, crafted by renowned Parisian furniture maker Paul Sormani in 1890. The Sormani name and address are signed right on the piece.
You'll notice that there are these wonderful bronze panels around the whole piece, and that the back looks very similar to the front.
This isn't just any cabinet, it's a vitrine de milieu, designed to showcase treasures. It features bronze galleries on top and bottom. Inspired by Louis XVI style, it boasts classic details like straight legs and leafy accents. This vitrine at auction could fetch
$12,000 to $18,000.
Wow.
The guest wants to insure it, and its insurance value is closer to
Of an insurance value, say in the $25,000 range.
I think we should.
Yeah.
It is every fan's dream to have a signed jersey by one of their favorite sports stars, just like this signed New York Yankees Game 1 jersey by Reggie Jackson, an American former professional baseball right fielder who played 21 seasons in Major League Baseball. This guest won his treasured piece at a local drawing simply by submitting his name. The jersey features all the authentic details expected, including the Jackson label, his iconic number 44, and notable wear that proves it was worn in an actual game.
The good news is that all of the labels and all of the stitching are spot on for what it should be.
All right.
The Wilson tag confirms the size, and the inscription, 80, set 1, precisely dates it to 1980. However, this piece is not only a valuable collectible, but also a cherished piece of baseball history, and is worth
Today, an auction estimate for this jersey would be $8,000 to $12,000.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Guest's friend gave him this carved surfboard as a gift. The friend, a female surfer, acquired it herself in mid-20th century California. We can see the surfboard has beautiful carvings, including engravings like the name of the carver, Ben Roos, BR, an early 20th century surfer. Historically, surfing was introduced to Southern California by George Freeth, an American lifeguard, surfer, and swimmer, renowned for popularizing surfing in Southern California. Before this surfboard was made, few women participated in water sports, especially surfing,
that we can document belong to a female surfer,
making this piece very unique and one of the first of its kind. At auction, this well-preserved surfboard, representing a bygone era of surfing history, would fetch
I'd put a value on this at auction of $3,000 to $5,000. Oh, that's great.
On exhibit today is a vintage military pass. Our guest found this piece nestled in the backing of an old frame. Paul Revere, an infamous American patriot, was issued this military pass, authenticated by the illustrious Dr. Joseph Warren, who led the Massachusetts Provincial Congress during the American Revolution.
This reads that it was done in Cambridge on the 29th of January, 1775, and it's a pass. And it was given to Paul Revere to get him through the military lines when he was carrying messages.
This document shows signs of wear, with significant staining and wear along the edges. Upon closer inspection with a magnifying glass, it becomes apparent that the writing and stains on this piece were not authentic, but rather printed on the document. This discovery has greatly reduced its value, giving it an auction worth of
probably worth $20 or something like that.
Saved from being mere trash or cannon fodder by this guest, this 1960s baseball has a story surrounding it.
This is what people played baseball with 150 years ago. Isn't that wild? It is.
Called a lemon peel baseball because of the way it was stitched up, it's made of leather, which over time has shrunk and is characteristic of leather materials. The fact that the ball has shrunk suggests it would have been bigger during the time it was used. A very twined ball. There's a probability that wool was used in making it. It's actually quite wonderful that the ball is still in top condition, considering how old it is.
This is a very heavy twine and probably got some wool in there. This is in very decent condition considering how old it is. It's very supple still.
The uniqueness of this ball is that they hardly come up often at auctions, which solidifies its rarity and makes it valued at
probably about $1,000 to $1,500.
Wow, really? That much?
Brought in originally by these guests in its original box, this toy is a Japanese pre-World War II work. Although Japanese pre-war toys are usually known for their thinness.
The pre-war toys tended to be all tin and a little more naive in quality.
What raises their quality are the marvelous lithographs done on them, and, in the example of this piece, the automotive motif on its side also adds considerable value to it. Another outstanding quality of this toy is its original box that came with it, which oftentimes triples the value of the toy. There's a little action set on the toy too, with a rotating amusement park ride that increases the collectability of this toy.
That's another factor in adding the value of this toy, because people collect amusement park rides.
At auction today, this wonderfully made pre-war Japanese toy, with its original box adding to its value, would be worth.
Could probably bring as much as $2,000, maybe a little more. It's an absolutely wonderful find you have here.
Mouseman oak carvings, timeless and grand, crafted with care by a master's hand. At a recent Yorkshire Roadshow, our participants showed special items inherited from their grandmother, Florrie Harrison. She had received them in 1933. These pieces were crafted by George Wheatman, a friend of the participant's father and an apprentice of Robert Thompson. Thompson was known as the Mouseman for his mouse signature on furniture. The items included a horseshoe ashtray and detailed carved owls. The owls, unlike the typical Mouseman style, were lifelike and intricate. Wheatman was remembered as a kind man. The price of the ashtray delighted the owner. It highlighted the exceptional craftsmanship of the items. It also emphasized their personal history while examining the condition of the items. The appraiser said,
if you were to buy it at auction now, would be around £250. And these unsigned pieces, they're really one-offs. £4,000.
Oh, that's nice.
We all hold different objects dear, and it's not so often that those things are collectibles. This collection of hair combs and hat pins, however, falls into such collectibles. Acquired by this guest from different antique stores, they're all from different years. The earliest of the items, a hat pin, is from the 1860s.
And it's from the 1860s. It's the robin's egg blue beads, which were so popular. That was the most popular color at that time.
The next item, a French piece, is well decorated and adorned. There's also a Japanese piece from the 1920s, probably used by a geisha girl. A hairpin made of gold is also part of this marvelous collection.
And then these are hairpins from about 1920, and they are gold. You have rose gold and regular gold pins here.
Although most of these items started going out of fashion in the 1920s due to women wearing their hair in a bob, at an antique store, they're still quite valuable and would be highly collectible. Collectively, these items from different eras, countries, and varying craftsmanship would be worth.
Overall, your entire collection at an antique shop would sell for about $2,000.
Oh my God.
He spotted LCT on the item at a thrift store and bought it for 99 cents. It is Tiffany pottery, with the LCT mark for Louis Comfort Tiffany, partially covered by glaze. The bottom also reads LC Tiffany Favril, along with a number, making it a beautiful little piece. Favril, from Old English, fabrile, underscores the handmade quality of these pieces. Favril glass achieves unique iridescence by blending metallic oxides into molten glass. This vase embodies Art Nouveau with flowing lines, organic shapes, and iridescent colors. Tiffany's vases from this period are now rare treasures for collectors and museums. A shimmering gem of artistic history, The appraiser valued the item.
Is $5,000 to $7,000.
Really?
Really.
Thank you.
Today, we present a remarkable artifact. This incredible piece is a jigsaw pinball machine from the World's Fair exhibition. It was given to our guest as a Christmas present when he was just a child. Interestingly, the reward for playing the game is a stunning image that emerges. The image shows a beautiful bird's eye view of the Chicago World's Fairgrounds. Removing a special slide causes the image to vanish, and you must play a game to reassemble the image in a random order. This exceptional piece is in superb condition, with an estimated auction value of
approximately $800 to $1,200 on today's market.
Wow.
Here is a Tiffany Co pocket watch presented by this guest. This piece is also known as a fob, and it's set with beautiful stones that are referred to as dermatoid garnets, which are worth more than emeralds and are very rare.
These were mined in Russia in the late 1800s to early 1900s, and they were very prevalent in antique jewelry, and it's a beautiful pave workmanship that we have here.
It's accented with diamonds on the top, and you can see the little scroll work on the top, which has this electric lime green color. Interestingly, this pocket watch was made in 1890, and it's set in 18-karat gold. Despite its age, this beautiful watch is in excellent condition and would retail for
Today at auction, I would estimate this piece at $10,000 to $15,000.
Wow! Hey, Ann, we're going to Italy.
This tin sign is a relic from the time when advertising was more about art than algorithms. The guest discovered this piece in an old ramshackle house a few years ago.
And for some reason, it appealed to me. I just went in to see what might be sitting there.
Moreover, this sign is one of the earliest and rarest Coca-Cola signs ever produced. It is a pressed tin and lithographed sign. Visible on the piece are bullet holes and stab marks. Among collectors, this old tin sign is highly collectible. Despite the damage, its value is hardly affected and is estimated to be worth.
I would not be afraid to give you an auction estimate of $5,000 to $7,000.
Oh my goodness.
This Rockwood pottery vase from Cincinnati, Ohio belonged to her history-loving grandfather in Salt Lake City. The 1901 Rockwood Big Bow vase, designed by Grace Young, is a notable piece of American art pottery. The vase bears the Rockwood mark, with 1 for 1901, and the inspiration for Big Bow Kiowa. The vase features the artist's signature and is marked with an X. As a second, due to the minor flaws, Rockwood pottery in Cincinnati, renowned for quality ceramics in the arts and crafts movement, crafted from select clay with optimal properties. Renowned glazes enrich the vase's elegant form and intricate Big Bow motif with vibrant colors. With careful scrutiny and admiration, the appraiser valued the item
would be between $6,000 and $9,000.
Oh, my goodness. $6,000 to $9,000. Oh.
We see a wooden head cover with engravings. The guests are mother and daughter. The mother inherited this item from her father.
He went every Sunday, as long as I can remember, and went to the flea market every morning.
This is an Eskimo hunting helmet used by the Inuit people around the Aleutian Islands for hunting expeditions. We can see animal engravings on the helmet, which have spiritual meanings for them. They believe these engravings protected them from the sea mammals they hunted.
These were very magical objects to the Eskimo people. They were used when they were hunting out in the ocean, the Arctic Ocean.
The helmet is made from organic materials like wood and bone ivory. Although there are a few noticeable condition problems on the helmet, it is very rare, with only a few of its type available.
There are in fact less than 25 of these known to exist in the world today.
At auction, this remarkable helmet, which showcases the craftsmanship of indigenous people, would fetch.
I would anticipate the retail value is in the neighborhood of $65,000 to $75,000.
From the great thinking of innovation came the invention of the shopping cart. The cart was invented by an American businessman named Sylvan Goldman to ease stress for shoppers so they wouldn't have to make multiple trips for items. There's a label on the front of this cart, and on the label is written the name of the company that produced it. The name of the company is Folding Co., based in Oklahoma, the city Goldman is from. This item is not very valuable, and as such would just be worth
Not a real valuable piece. It's probably worth a few $100s.
After spending like 30 years in the grocery business, it's kind of unique to have one.
For over half a century, this unique piece of Victorian Wedgwood Majolica, crafted in 1862, has been a treasured family heirloom. This piece is an exquisite example of Wedgwood's artistry during the Victorian era. Unlike typical pastries, this dish is complete with intricate details and mimics the appearance of what looks like delicate pastry crusts. During the 19th century, Wedgwood and other Victorian potters embraced the creation of such whimsical dishes, blending the charm of traditional game pie with the allure of Majolica pottery. While the Victorians often preferred the look of pastries, they indigenously designed these dishes to capture that aesthetic without actual pastries. Nevertheless, how much do you think this Victorian Wedgwood Majolica would auction for? This very young guest brought in 2 books given to her by her aunt. The books are quite special, as they're first edition prequel and sequel of the book Little Woman, written by Louisa May Alcott. Louisa May Alcott was an American novelist, short story writer, and poet. The prequel was first published in Boston in 1868.
And it was so popular and sold so many copies that she wrote a sequel, Part the Second.
While the first edition sequel was produced in 1869, there's also a frontispiece set in the book to prevent the print from offsetting the title page. Both books are in their original cloth binding, used when they were published.
There's some wear to the book, but many copies that I've seen have got handling wear, fading of the purple on the spine and covers.
At auction today, the first edition prequel and sequel, both of which are prized works of literature, would be worth,
I would put at $3,000 to $5,000. And thank you very much for coming in.
It can quite literally be said that today's guests brought the music to the party with this piece. This piece is a Regina Corona automatic disc changer, which is a frontrunner to later jukeboxes and modern-day CD changers. The disc changer was manufactured by the Regina Music Company in New Jersey, circa 1905. Still consisting of its original Regina Corona glass front and finish, this disc changer has truly withstood the test of time. There's a lever at the back of the disc changer that's used to run the tune sheet.
And the bottom one is what elevates the changer, which is what's so innovative.
This particular disc changer is a Style 34 that has a coin mechanism, as opposed to the Style 33, which has a home model version, still bearing all its original components and finish, and based on the fact that it's a great model. In today's market, this would be worth,
I think on today's market, I think a collector would be very happy to pay you about $15,000 for it. Well, thank you.
We see a glass vase with a colourful swirling wave-like pattern. The guest brought this beautiful piece at an auction. It's a Lotz Tidiana glass made in the early 20th century by Joanne Lotz Witwer, a famous bohemian glass art company. The vase is made of glass adorned with fluid organic form, with a rich iridescent finish from mint green feathering to cranberry silver colour. Despite its age, the vase is still in excellent condition, making this Tidiana vase, with its great craftsmanship and innovative design, worth.
Happy to know that it's worth about $3,000 to $4,000 on today's market. Yes, I would. A very, very lovely piece.
Passed down to this guest by her mother-in-law, this piece is called a cinnabar lacquer box.
Well, from an earlier period of time, wonderful gifts were also presented in very attractive containers.
Okay.
Upon a closer look, you can see small figures that are accompanied by very placid animals. Also, it depicts a spotted deer, which is a very auspicious animal in Chinese mythology. There are also pairs of cranes, which are known for longevity. Further up the landscape are other deer and immortal figures known as heavenly beings.
And we see that there is this beautiful kind of landscape that takes place with this pavilion and distant mountains, and it's meant to be an idealized vision of the perfect world.
Additionally, there are blossoming flowers around the edge, which incorporate peony and lotus, which are all happy signs. Together, these figures showcase the harmony of nature and man, and a perfect example of Chinese cultural heritage, and, at auction, would sell for.
I think conservative estimate would be in the range of $40,000 to $60,000 at auction.
40,000? Oh.
Guest presented a unique piece of jewellery belonging to her mother.
Well, that is my mother, and that for a long time was in Ireland, in my brother's house, and I had this here.
Accompanied by a portrait of her mother wearing the same pendant, painted by Doris Clare Zinkhuisen. The pendant is made from rock crystal, with symbols representing elements of the Passion of Christ.
There are many attributes of the Passion here. Here are the 3 nails of the wounds of Christ. There were, of course, 4 wounds for the feet and the hands.
Engraved from behind using intaglio techniques. The crystal is set in gold with a distinctive pie crust setting, indicating the pendant may have been a talisman. Presented in good condition, this unique jewel and the painting are estimated to sell at auction for
£20,000 worth of magic you've brought me today.
Oh my goodness!
Let's travel back to the world's preeminent leadership institution, West Point. West Point is so important in America's history that it was the most important post in America, according to George Washington. This archive talks about the class of 1861, which contained many important individuals. In particular, it describes what it felt like to be a new recruit at West Point.
The class of 1861 actually graduated in 2 groups. There was a group in May and a group in June, where your great-grandfather graduated. There were 34 people in the second class.
This archive is important because it's quite rare to read about the day-to-day lives of soldiers. We also have a letter of appointment signed by Abraham Lincoln. The archives contain pictures of important professors and even that of General George Custer. At an auction, this rare and immensely valuable archive would sell for
Probably have an auction estimate of between $8,000 and $12,000.
Oh, wow.
For 16 years, this guest worked at NASA as a test director on the Zero-G airplanes.
Started in this program in '62. I went to work for NASA, which was then called NACA at the time, in 1950.
He showcased several autographed photographs that he collected during his time at NASA.
We occasionally flew celebrities. Probably my favorite celebrity was Bozo the Clown. The real Larry Harmon flew with us one time.
One notable photograph is of the Vomit Comet, which features the signatures of 16 different astronauts. This photograph was given to the guest upon his retirement in 1977. Another displayed photograph is of Alan Shepard holding the American flag, which he later planted on the moon. Alan Shepard was an American astronaut and the first American to travel into space. We also have a signed photograph of the guest working with Marcia Ivins. Ivins is a retired American astronaut and veteran of 5 space shuttle missions.
And I worked with her on several occasions on the airplane. And when I left in 1977, shortly after I left, she became an astronaut.
The guest also brought a photo album containing both signed and unsigned photographs of astronauts. Additionally, there is signed photographs of Gordon Cooper on display. Gordon Cooper. Cooper was an American aerospace engineer, test pilot, and United States Air Force pilot. This collection of photographs has remarkable provenance and symbolizes America's space exploration. Altogether, they'll be worth.
We would put an estimate between $35,000 and $45,000 at auction.
I am just speechless. I thought maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, maybe something like that.
This chair represents the exquisite creativity of Irish chair makers. The chair is called an Irish side chair, and it was made in the 18th century. It has several details that qualify it as an Irish chair, particularly the suspended tassel. The chair represents the style of chairs made during the 1850s. It's also made from the strong and durable wood, mahogany. The chair also has a set of heavy knees, which doesn't mean the chair has hair, but that it has a mane.
All right, and the other thing that was a clue for me is the face in the front. That's a heraldic face. Normally you'll see lions' faces and things like that.
Right.
The chair is called a George II side chair because it was made during the era of King George II. This chair is a beautiful Irish masterpiece, and it would auction for the price of
A conservative insurance value would be $15,000.
Wow.
This toy represents one of the earliest technological toys made by man. It's a toy created in 1926 by a company called Turner Toys. These toys are highly sought after because of the uniqueness put into crafting them. It was made from pressed steel, which is likely responsible for its longevity. One of the most interesting things about this bus is that it is extremely rare. The toy has been in existence for over 50 years, and aside from a few issues, it still looks in top quality. During its early years, not only children had it in their collection, adults also wanted it. This toy is a beautiful representation of early vintage toys, and it would auction for the price of.
This is a minimum $5,000 to $6,000 bus.
I'm going to have to do a lot of...
This basket cannot be used to pick fruits in the garden, but it is nonetheless special. For one reason, the basket is quite small, which is unusual to see. The basket is called a leather key basket, and it was created in 1850. Before key holders were created, Americans used key baskets to hold keys for large residences.
And they're very typical for southern states. These are very typical around the 1850s.
The basket has different engravings on it as a way to style and beautify it. During the 1850s, key baskets like this were produced exclusively in Virginia and North Carolina. Key baskets represent a unique form of American folk art that is still in existence. At an auction, this leather key basket would retail for the price of.
We think that this definitely is worth $20,000 to $30,000.
We'll take better care of it.